In this video, I'm going to talk about the control panel as well as the transform panel because they both do similar things depending on what you have selected. As you remember, the control panel is this panel up here, and it's by default is turned on, and you can see if you go up to Window, you can see it's checked. It's pretty much always on. The transform panel is not always on, and it's kind of buried. I don't think it really shows up in any of the workspaces, but you can get to it under Window and then Object and Layout, whoops, and pick Transform. So that's the transform panel. And as you can see, it has some of the same things as the control panel. It has this little diagram here. It has X and Y and width and height. And you can affect objects from either of these panels. Now, the control panel has a lot more that you can do, but you can do a lot of it from the transform panel as well. So for example, if I select this text box, you could see when I selected it, values popped into these windows in both panels, and they're the same values in both panels. Now in the control panel, I can also add characteristics to the frame itself, so I can give the frame a color or a stroke and make that bigger. Whoops, I gotta select it, sorry. Or a stroke and make it bigger. All right, which you can't do in the transform. But the things you can do in the transform is affect how things are going to act. So if I have this rectangle selected and I want to transform it, so I want it to do something, I can use this transform button or this reference point diagram. You can also do it up in your control panel, whichever works for you. And I can change the location on the page that if I know exactly where I want this, I can say I want this to be at 2.5 inches. And you see when I tabbed, it moved. And I want this at 3.5 inches. And so if I know exactly where I want an object, I can do that. I can also change the height of it. So I want it to, or I'm sorry, the width of it and the height of it. So I now just made it more of a standard size. I can also affect the skew of it. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the location of it. This is the skew of it. But what I really want to talk about is the location, changing location. So if I know I want that same size rectangle, but I want it to be vertical, I want it to be 90%, I can click minus 90%, which means it'll move backwards. I'm sorry, it moves down. You can see it rotated. But it rotates from this point right here. Can you see that? I'm going to go ahead and keep doing it. This point does not move. That correlates to this diagram right here. You can see this little box is black. That's the same point. You can see that. And it's the same way up in the control panel. Now what if I want to have it rotate on a different place? I can have it rotate from the center. So let's do that. I've clicked the center and I want it to rotate. Oh, yeah, 90%. So now you see all the points moved. It actually, you can't really see it in here. I don't think you can see it, but there's a center point here, also called which is also called the origin point, and that's where it rotates on. I can pick another point and have it do. Let's pick a different measurement. And so now you see it actually moved on this point. So you can move objects anywhere you want, and you can see it changed the actual reference diagram because now it's on a diagonal because of the way the amount I shifted it. So let's take it back to 0, and now you see it shifted back. And it actually changed it even again because it used the side reference point. So it's a little confusing at first, but if you work with it and use it and try different things, you'll see there's a lot of power in this and a lot of different options that you can use. Now, like I said, the transform panel doesn't have as much as the control panel, but it does do a lot of stuff and you'll get a lot of use out of it.